Breaking news out of Las Vegas. The prosecution has officially rested its case in the murder trial of Dwayne "Keffe D. Davis, marking a major turning point in the nearly 30-year-old Tupac Shakur murder case. After 8 days of trial and 24 prosecution witnesses, the state has finished presenting its evidence. Now, Keffe D's defense gets its turn, and one major question remains. Will Keffe D take the witness stand himself? But before we get into what happens next, here is an important disclaimer. Before we begin, this video is for news reporting and commentary. The murder trial of Dwayne "Keffe D. Davis in connection with the 1996 killing of Tupac Shakur is ongoing. The information presented includes allegations made during court proceedings, witness testimony, evidence presented in court, recorded interviews, and publicly reported information. Prosecutors allege Davis was involved in planning and facilitating the attack that resulted in Tupac Shakur's death. Davis has pleaded not guilty and disputes the allegations against him. Dwayne Davis is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. Now let's get into it. Prosecutors officially rested their case Wednesday after presenting testimony from police officers, investigators, gang experts, people connected to death row records, and witnesses connected to the night Tupac was shot. But perhaps some of the most important evidence came from Keffe D's own words. Jurors heard hours of Davis's previous statements from police interviews, documentary recordings, and recorded jail calls. In a 2008 police interview played during the trial, Davis described being inside the white Cadillac involved in the shooting. He said he provided a gun and identified his nephew, Orlando "Baby Lane" Anderson, as the person who fired the shots. Prosecutors argue Davis's own statements help establish his involvement in the attack, but the defense says those statements cannot be trusted. Davis's attorneys argue that he exaggerated or fabricated stories about Tupac's murder for money, publicity, and notoriety. So one of the biggest questions facing this jury is, was Keffe D admitting what really happened, or was he selling a story? Jurors also heard testimony from retired Compton gang detective Robert Ladd, who described Davis as a high-ranking shot caller within the Southside Compton Crips. That testimony could be important because prosecutors are not alleging Keffe D personally fired the shots that killed Tupac. Instead, they allege he helped organize and facilitate the retaliatory attack after Tupac and others assaulted Davis's nephew Orlando Anderson at the MGM Grand. But the defense also got an important admission during cross-examination. Ladd acknowledged that he did not have physical evidence placing Keffe D in Las Vegas on the night Tupac was shot, apart from Davis's own statements. And that brings us to one of the defense's biggest arguments. Where is the physical evidence connecting Keffe D to the crime? The murder weapon was never recovered. The other 3 men Davis identified as being inside the Cadillac have since died, and nearly 3 decades passed before Davis was charged. Now, the defense gets its opportunity to present its own witnesses and challenge the prosecution's case. But another major decision is still hanging over the courtroom. Will Keffe D testify? The judge has addressed Davis about his constitutional right to take the witness stand or remain silent. If Davis chooses not to testify, jurors cannot legally hold that decision against him. But if he does take the stand, prosecutors could potentially confront him directly with years of interviews and recordings in which he discussed Tupac's murder. That could make his decision one of the biggest moments of the trial. And we're getting close to the end. Closing arguments are currently expected Monday, August 31st. After that, nearly 30 years after Tupac Shakur was killed, the case could finally be placed into the hands of a jury. Tupac was only 25 years old when he was shot on September 7th. 1996. He died 6 days later. For decades, nobody stood trial for his murder. Until now. The prosecution has presented its case. The defense is up next. And soon, jurors may have to answer the ultimate legal question. Has the state proven beyond a reasonable doubt that Dwayne "Keffe D. Davis is criminally responsible for Tupac Shakur's murder? Black Community News will continue following this trial through the defense case, closing arguments, jury deliberations, and the verdict. Now we want to hear from you. Do you believe prosecutors presented enough evidence to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt? And do you think Keffe D should take the witness stand or remain silent? Let us know what you think in the comments. Follow Black Community News for continuing updates on the Tupac Shakur murder trial.